Batman escaped Arkham, but the hunter who dragged him back wasn't finished. Some call Bane muscle for hire, but few understand the calculated mind beneath that skull-faced mask. Alfred had seen this coming long before Bruce ever set foot in Arkham. He knew the man they were summoning, knew the twisted legend of the one called Bane. Born on Santa Prisca, an island that had bled for centuries, this boy entered the world amidst gunfire and revolution. His father, the rebel leader, scooped him up mid-battle and carried him forward into a war that would define everything. The child grew up in jungle camps where freedom fighters plotted to reclaim their homeland, always under his father's watchful eye searching the skies above. "Do you see the Quetzal?" his father would ask, pointing toward the heavens. The sacred bird of Santa Prisca, symbol of freedom soaring high above the canopy. But the boy never saw it, not then. Victory came swift and brutal when the rebels finally took the capital. The boy, now nearly a man, fought alongside seasoned warriors as they held their prize for 4 precious days. But corrupt governments don't fall quietly. Mercenaries arrived, better trained, better armed, better funded. The rebellion crumbled like sand, and the survivors found themselves sentenced to life in Penoro, the nightmare prison off Santa Prisca's coast. Packed into cells that flooded with every tide, the boy learned survival's harshest lessons. Guards beat them into submission by day while ocean water rose to drown them by night. He mastered sleeping while clinging to ceiling bars, hunting rats in darkness, picking fleas from infected skin each dawn. But his father's voice never wavered. Even hanging from their cage like a broken bird, the Quetzal will fly. We will not break. 10 years of hell shaped the boy into something harder than prison walls. When he closed his eyes during those endless nights, he finally saw his own bird, white fire with a skull burning at its heart. The rebels rose again, and this time the boy led them. Weapons seized, guards overwhelmed, boats captured. They stormed toward freedom, but something stopped them cold on the beach. None had seen open sky for a decade. In that moment of overwhelming liberation, his father presented a gift, a mask stitched from their flag, the Quetzal's image embedded in fabric soaked with years of hope. When the boy pulled it over his face, freedom wore a death's head grin. They crossed the bay expecting soldiers, but found only a man in white with a knowing smile. The boy ordered his men to wait and approached alone. Whispered words passed between them, an agreement that would reshape everything. The man in white smiled wider, patted the boy's chest approvingly, then boarded his helicopter and vanished into the sky. "Can you see it, father?" the boy asked upon his return, pulling his father into an embrace. "Can you see your dream of peace?" His father's eyes filled with pride. "I see it now in you." The boy tightened his grip. His father's spine snapped like dried wood. That was where Bane truly began, with love twisted into murder, hope transformed into weapon. What followed was a symphony of calculated death across the globe. A diplomat's plane exploding over Guangzhou, Bane's finger on the detonator. A journalist's throat opened in Dubai by Bane's blade. Pirates slaughtered in the Red Sea, their blood mixing with salt water. A bombing in London, Bane watching smoke rise from blocks away. Each kill carved the world into the shape the man in white desired, each death another step toward building JK Corporation's vision of order. Venom flowed through Bane's veins now, the drug granting him dominion over every muscle fiber, every cell bending to his will. His mind became a living archive, combat techniques from across history, weapons expertise, tactical knowledge spanning centuries of warfare. The boy who once dreamed of birds had evolved into something far more dangerous, a thinking monster who understood that true victory comes through calculated cruelty. Batman had prepared for this encounter, turning his safe house into a trap. He didn't wait for Bane to break down the door. He came through the wall himself, battle cry tearing from his throat. "Hello again," Bane called as Venom began pumping through his enhanced system. Batman charged forward, but Bane's whirling kick sent him flying backward through debris and smoke. The Dark Knight's trap activated, cars erupted around Bane in a carefully orchestrated killbox explosion. For a moment, hope flickered. Then Batman's eyes widened in horror as Bane charged through the flames, slamming into him with bone-crushing force. Blows traded back and forth, but Venom-powered strength proved overwhelming. Batman reached for his axe, embedding the blade deep in Bane's shoulder. But even that wasn't enough. Bane pulled the weapon free and swung it in a deadly arc. Batman's arm separated at the shoulder, blood spraying across concrete. The axe swung again, his other arm severed at the elbow. Batman collapsed, crimson pooling beneath his broken form. Bane stood victorious, but he wasn't finished. The axe rose and fell repeatedly, crushing bones, breaking the symbol of Gotham's hope into something unrecognizable. Later, Batman's armless, shattered body was thrown onto Arkham's surgical floor like discarded meat. Dr. Arkham waited in scrubs, her assistants already prepped for the procedure ahead. "Prep him," she ordered with clinical detachment. The real work was just beginning. They sought to replicate Bane's success, to craft more soldiers for the Man in White's growing army. Others had undergone this transformation, one in Russia known as KG Beast, another in the Middle East, and one Alfred knew all too well, Deathstroke. But most died screaming on the operating table, their bodies rejecting the venom cocktail or their minds snapping under enhancement. Bruce was different. Strong enough to survive the surgery, malleable enough to be reshaped into their vision. Occasionally, Bane returns to Santa Prisca to visit his wife and children. The island has become paradise, war ended, prosperity blooming where violence once reigned. All it cost was Bane's soul, freely given to the Man in White's cause. This is what they want from Batman, not just his body, but his willing participation in creating order from chaos. The new Batman now stands ready in Arkham's depths, venom flowing through reconstructed veins, machines humming where flesh once failed, weapons integrated into enhanced limbs. They've built the perfect soldier, but there's a crucial flaw in their design. Unlike Bane, Batman hasn't chosen to break yet. His body may be rebuilt, but his spirit remains defiant. They can't force true loyalty. Batman must choose betrayal willingly, just as Bane once did. Bane understands this perfectly. He's not merely a physical powerhouse, but a tactical genius who knows the human heart's pressure points. That's why he didn't return to Batman's lair. He went to theirs instead. The door to Want's gym explodes inward as Bane's massive frame fills the entrance. Batman's friends cower in terror as the skull-masked giant looms over them, knowing exactly which strings to pull. Smart predators don't hunt the wolf directly, they hunt the pack. While Batman recovers in Arkham's surgical suite, Bane positions his pieces for the final gambit. The boy who once searched skies for birds of freedom has become the monster who cages them, and he knows that even the strongest hero will shatter when forced to choose between his mission and his family. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object? You change the equation entirely. How far will Batman bend before he snaps like his predecessor? What price will Gotham's protector pay to keep his loved ones safe? This is Geek Force. See you in the next one.